How to start acting as a minor. I talked about this already a little bit, but if you're a minor, casting directors, they forgive you that you haven't done a lot of work. So you're getting into the business is the same process like everybody else. You need to have a headshot, you need to have a resume, and you should have a reel. If you want a better shot at getting an agency, get a reel. You don't necessarily have to have a reel if you're under 18, but I highly suggest one because you're competing with a lot of other minors that don't have reels, and if you have a reel, well then you stand out. I would invest in making yourself a reel if you're serious about getting an agent. And then you submit to the agents like everybody else. You look up the agents like everybody else and you submit, but you have to have your parents' permission. That's important. The best age to become an actor is the sooner the better, because the sooner you get into the business, the better shot you have. The business is saturated with so many people, but if you can get into the business, you have that many more years to develop a relationship. And if you don't worry. There are actors that start really late in life. You can start acting when you're 50, you can start acting when you're 100. It doesn't really matter. How to become an actor if you're under 18. Once you have your parents' permission, ask them to put you into classes. I also started when I was 15. I started in children's theater. So if you don't want to do classes, start in children's theater. A really great sense of confidence and being on stage, developing that muscle. Agents are very forgiving when you are under 18. They realize you might have just started acting, you might have not done a lot of work, so they're forgiving if you don't have a huge resume or if you don't have a reel. If you have your parents' permission, you can submit to agents. Look around in your area, start in your area. Once you do your research and you find the agent you really like, get your headshot, your resume together. If you have a reel, put that in, mail them your material. If your parents don't give you permission, practice reading scripts, and then by the time you're 18, so much experience behind you just because of your own personal training. First time I ever told my parents I wanted to be an actor, my dad was like, no, don't do that. But it wasn't until I proved over time it's really what I wanted. He actually is now so supportive. Start talking to your family and be like, I really want to do this. I love it. And will you please put me in classes? If they say no, because sometimes they'll be supportive and sometimes they won't, and you can't be upset with your parents because that's not going to do anything, then start doing your own practices. Go on TikTok, do POVs with voice, read scripts, and by the time that you're 18, and practice and read scripts and talk about it, and talk to actors, practice feeling emotions or practice anger. And by the time you're 18, you could be phenomenal. Whatever the circumstances, don't worry. You don't have to be a certain age to start acting. You could start acting if you're in your 90s. There's so many actors who started later in life that are successful. I started pretty late considerably. How to tell your parents you want to act and what if they disapprove. I've talked about this. There are many parents out there who support this business, and then there's parents out there who don't because they believe it's a very hard business to make a living off of, and I don't blame them because they want you to succeed. The best way to tell your parents is to sit them down and just tell them, you know, I've really been thinking about acting. I really love it because this is why I want to do it, and name all the reasons why you want to do it. What it makes you feel like, what your dreams are. And if they're like, great, then say, great, can we start with classes? They're like, okay, great, then look up classes and start. If they say no, then you have to respect them, but say, okay, it's no today, but it might not be no tomorrow, and say, I'm gonna work on doing my own studies, and maybe eventually you'll let me. And maybe they will. That's what my parents did. And if they say no and they keep saying no all the way until you're 18, then do practice by yourself, practice with your friends, and by the time you're 18, then you can get an agent.